It's the morning of day 3 of my little adventure. Um, I did not sleep well. Apparently, people in this hotel love to make really freaking loud noises at night. And then I had a whole bunch of crazy cheese and spice dreams, which is always entertaining. What are you looking at? Huh? Oh yeah, fair enough. Big cruise ship pulling into port. One thing I find real interesting about being here in Keelung is it has a striking resemblance to Wellington, New Zealand, where I lived for 4 years. Like the topography, like the mountains and all that are the same. And even like the culture here seems pretty similar, like even though it's, you know, culturally about as far apart as you can get. Well, not really, but you know what I mean, it's culturally very different. But like there's a lot of hipster coffee shops, a lot of like craft beer bars, and like very sort of like hipster hip things. You see a lot of people wearing berets, so that's like the same as Wellington. But it's also like kind of rough at the same time. Like there's many parts of the city that are a bit run down. And I was talking to a bartender the other night who was telling me apparently they have a really bad gang problem here, where if you're out past about 11 p.m. you go down to the night market, apparently you'll just see plenty of gangsters and there's lots of opportunity to find trouble. So yeah, it's just fascinating that is very similar to what Wellington's like. Alright, so we're here at the Keelung Military Park. We've got a tank, the M48A3. Apparently is in service. I think this is what this says. It's in service from the year 62 to the year 88. Yeah. Service from the year 62 to the year 88. You're wondering what it means by the year 62 to the year 88 is in Taiwan they officially use a different year system to the Gregorian calendar. They use like the Republic of China year, so it's years since the Republic of China was formed. And it happens to be the same year as the system they use in North Korea, because in North Korea they use the system where it's like from the birth of Kim Il-sung, I think, which happened to be the same year as the formation of the Republic of China. So yeah, they like I think it's the year 113 right now in the Republic of China system. So on official documents it'll often say like the year 113. Although a lot of the time they still just use the Gregorian system, so it's a bit of a hodgepodge. So I figured I'd just clarify for people who don't know why Taiwan is currently known as the ROC, or the Republic of China. So the reason for this is basically, historically Taiwan had been a province of Qing Dynasty China. It was ceded to the Japanese in 1895, and then at the end of World War II, the Americans demanded an unconditional surrender from the Japanese, and Taiwan was basically put into UN administration. At the time, the government in China, the Republic of China government, basically seized Taiwan. They told the UN that they were just going to administer it for the UN, but they basically seized it and looted it. And then following this, we had the civil war in China between the communists and the nationalists, the Kuomintang regime. The Kuomintang lost the war in China and basically on the retreat decided they're going to move everything to Taiwan, with the idea being that they would eventually retake over the whole of China. They go back to China, take everything over. And so they established the Republic of China government in Taipei in Taiwan, and basically 70 years now after that, 75 years, all of those government institutions are basically the same government institutions. But since then, Taiwan went from being, you know, a military dictatorship under the Kuomintang to now it's a democratic republic. In 1996, they had the first democratic elections, and since then, the Taiwanese nationalist movement that was suppressed by the Kuomintang regime is now, you know, pursuing the Taiwanese national identity that they've wanted to pursue since the era of Japanese rule. Okay, so this one's a little older. This is an Armstrong gun. I've read about these. They had them in the artillery forts down in Tainan as well. So these ones apparently, again after the Sino-French War, where the French had to go at Taiwan and tried to take over Taipei and failed, there was a recognition of the lack of defenses. They ordered them all from the United Kingdom, which I guess would have been the premier military power at the time. So this one here is a LVT. It's an amphibious troop carrier, right? And this here, I believe this is the symbol for the Republic of China Navy, the Taiwanese Navy. One thing about a lot of the Taiwanese military and government institutions is that they haven't really changed any of the names or anything, so it's still, a lot of it is still officially Republic of China. What you find interesting about this symbol is you've got here, it's a map of the Republic of China. Now this is obviously very basic, but if you see, I'll find a picture of the actual symbol and bring it up, but there's like the territories that it includes is actually quite a lot more than modern China. There's a lot of territories like Manchuria, parts of Manchuria that are now Russia, the whole of Mongolia, not just Inner Mongolia, and places like Burma, northern India are all included in this symbol, this map, because they were at one time included in the Republic of China when it was formed, as it was the successor state to the Qing dynasty. I wanted to make a correction here, because what I said is that all of those territories were part of the Republic of China when it was formed. That's not true. Those were all the territories that the Republic of China claimed because they believed themselves to be the successor of the Qing dynasty. A lot of those territories at the time were controlled, for example, a lot of Manchuria was controlled by the Russians. Parts of Burma and that India that the Republic of China claimed were controlled by the British. And so they didn't control those territories, that was just what they claimed. So this here is the Urshawan fort in Keelung. This fort's a little bit different to the last one. The last one I showed was Japanese built. This one was built during the Qing dynasty era, and I think that's an Armstrong gun, if I'm not mistaken, one of the British ones. So it would have been installed later, because this fort would have been built in 1840. And again, it's built here to protect the port, which, if all these trees weren't here, which I'm sure they would have kept them down, I mean, you'd have a pretty fantastic view out from over the whole coast. There's a wee fella. And that is the main container port of the north of Taiwan. It connects to the Taipei metropolitan area of about, I think, 7 million people. the weather here in the north is often like this. Just kind of like it's raining just a little bit and constantly. But this kind of gray, wet, dark look, whoa, almost fell over. It's kind of beautiful, and it's kind of bleak, dreary way, but it's still, I don't know. I just think especially the fogginess, it's pretty mystical. They're scuttling a ship, tearing it apart over there, which is not something I expected to see today. Kind of cool. I don't know what this temple is about, but it's got all these statues that are all very detailed and realistic of all these different guys, which I assume are some kind of monks or deities. I need to ask someone. They're all very distinct, and they all have red scarves. Even the elephants up the front here. Well, the baby elephant has one, not the big one. So the baby elephant gets a scarf, but not the big elephant. And the dragons up there too have scarves. It's a really annoying, really, because when I went to this temple and the fort, Shawan before, I took a lot of footage and I somehow managed to lose a lot of it, which is really quite frustrating. But just when I was at this temple, I asked a friend and they told me that those scarves around the neck, the red scarves, what that is saying is that there is the spirit of a god or a deity or some kind of spirit inside of the statue, which in one aspect was really interesting to learn. It's really cool. But it also means that I was going around with a camera, sticking it in the faces of gods, of deities, and going, oh, I wonder what's all this about. This is really cool. So that's a little bit embarrassing. But the temple was really cool. There was a lot of footage. It's gone forever now. But I had a lot of footage of the art that was on the walls. And yeah, it was just a really, really cool place. I definitely suggest checking it out. It's the Tian Shan Temple in Heping Island, just north of Keelung.